Man, I know we're back on Earth, but this jungle that we landed our ship, the USCSS podcast, in, sure feels alien.
You know, I know what you mean, dude. I sure hope there aren't too many native predator species out there that are looking for a meal.
Yeah, it's humid as fuck, too. I'm so dehydrated. I really wish we could figure out how to find our sentient water cooler robot friend Coolerbot.
He's always so helpful when it comes to keeping us refreshed. I mean, I hope the little dude is, like, okay out there wherever he is. I've missed him so much ever since he was pulled through that rip in space-time.
Wait, did you hear that?
Doth my ears deceive me? 'Twas that not the iconic sloshing water tank of our aquatic automaton?
Hey, Coolerbot, is that you?
That's not Coolerbot.
That's a cooler morph.
Zoinks! Let's get out of here, dude.
Holy smokes! Something invisible in the trees just blew away the cooler morph. We're saved.
I wouldn't be so sure if I was you.
Zoinks! That's a
It's a Predator Coolerbot hybrid. We weren't able to think up a clever name for it.
Stay hydrated.
And it looks like it wasn't even the only cooler morph. I think we're surrounded, man.
Maybe they just want to make sure we're really, really refreshed? Welcome to Crew Expendable. I am something that almost looks like an elephant, Hallstrom.
And I am Xenomorph Queen that's really into Shibari Rohrbacher.
You're right, we don't have the same one.
I told you we wouldn't.
And we are two tigers brawling to determine dominance over the Alien franchise.
I mean, I guess. We're kind of more in it together than fighting each other, but it's fine.
Sure, we are. And we're back.
We sure are. It's been a while.
Now, I did warn people on our, what was it, the Aliens, Witchblade Aliens, the Overkill episode, that I might need a break.
Mm-hmm.
But I did take a little bit of that break before I put that episode out.
Also true.
And then a little bit of the break after that episode came out. Because it just so happens, the longtime listeners know I've got some neurological issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those started acting up again. And that's made it difficult to work on certain things recently. And it's changed our plans even on what we had kind of set up to keep doing, for the show, because I go through these phases where my photophobia just goes out of control, and then it's just like very hard for me to even like look at a computer screen for too long, right? And that goes for like, watching movies and that kind of stuff as well. So we've had to shuffle a few things around, and I'm just putting all that out there so people know what's going on. And Kenny, I appreciate your I'll say patience. But you haven't, I don't know if patience is the right word, because you're not like putting up with it, But
I'm not like sitting back going, "Come on, get ready to record again." I'm just like chilling and passing the time until you're good to go. It's all good, my dude.
I appreciate everybody's understanding. How about that?
That works.
Yeah, as these things happen, it's no fun, and I definitely don't like when I start feeling like we're falling behind on the show, especially once we start gaining momentum. But, outside of those things that have been going on with me, I did have a little bit of alien burnout after Alien Earth. I'm not going to lie. And that's not,
it's
just real quick. That's not a statement on the quality of the show. That's just about the quantity of stuff we had coming at us that we were covering on the show, plus our second episodes we were doing at the time. It was just a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we put out 2 episodes a week for like almost 2 months straight. So
yeah. So it was just,
which is way more content than we normally put out.
yeah, it was a lot, and I needed a little bit of a breather in general anyway.
Fair.
So just wanted up top give people a very brief update. And people have maybe been missing the episode in their download queue. But hey, here
That's
we
fair.
are. Here we are, everybody.
We sure are.
And
What's up?
And it's an exciting time, but we'll get to that in a minute. Before we do that, first, if you like the show and you would like to support us, you can do that by going to coolerbot.net.
Mm-hmm.
And you can throw us a couple dollars, whatever you want. Helps us pay for hosting. Helps. Another thing we don't talk about is all of the sound production we do on these intros. I have to pay for that, and it helps pay for that too. That's all out of pocket costs as well. Because I want to produce, we both want to produce something that sounds really good and is really fun. So that's another show cost, and everybody donating over at coolerbot.net or buymeacoffee.com/crewexpendable is helping with all of those things as well. And we need to give a couple of shout outs here. Thank you to someone. That's it. We're going to keep them. They put their name in as someone. So we're going to say thank you, someone, for your recent donation. That was very kind. And Chris, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah, you have some kind of brain problem or something?
Yeah. Yeah, knock it off. Chris, knock it off. Everybody else, thank you. Also, Chris, don't knock it off. We love you.
Yeah, actually keep doing that.
Sure. Yeah.
It rocks, actually.
It does. We appreciate all of the people who have chipped in over there at coolerbot.net and helped us to keep doing this because we love doing it, and it does cost us money.
It sure does, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we are working on a way to provide you all with some extra stuff, but we're not ready to announce that yet.
Yeah, I mean, other than the announcement we just made about it right now.
Yeah, the announcement that we're gonna announce something.
The teaser trailer for the teaser trailer. I got you.
Right. That's the world we live in now, right? No, you get the teaser.
It sure is, baby.
You get the announcement of the teaser for the trailer.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Business out of the way.
Well, it's fine.
Kenny, how are you? What's up, man? What have you been doing?
My dude, I've just been playing a lot of video games. It's October now, so I've been trying to watch more horror movies because I'm not really much of a movie guy, and so I've been forcing myself to watch more movies, and it's been going like okay. I think I'm at we have like a week of October left as of this recording, and I think I'm up to like 7 or so movies, which is more than I normally watch. I usually watch like 1 or 2 a month. So
okay, any good ones? What's the best movie you've watched that you haven't seen, and the worst movie you've watched that you haven't seen?
The worst movie I've watched was probably the first one that I watched for this month, it's a movie called It Came from the Desert.
Okay. It sounds great. I don't know.
It's a low budget, like schlocky B movie. Like imagine Them, like the Ant movie from the 50s.
Yeah, one of the inspirations for Alien.
But imagine Them, but it was made in 2017 with really shitty CGI.
Okay.
And as far as the best is concerned, I don't know. I watched the 1992 Bram Stoker's Dracula, and that movie actually fucking rocks.
Okay, yeah. People love that's like a cult favorite. I think a lot of people are like, "What a weird fucking movie."
I'd never seen it before, and I just watched it on a whim because like another podcast that I listened to recently did an episode on it, and I was like, yeah, I was looking to watch a movie tonight. I'll just toss this on, and it is a strange movie.
Yeah. I think I've seen it.
That's the one with Gary Oldman and Keanu in it. Yeah,
I have seen it. I when I was taking a humanities class in college, we did a project on the novel, and I read the novel, and we also watched the movie. And there's a specific difference that I can't point out, but one of the people in my group in her section of the presentation referenced something that only happened in the movie and didn't happen in the novel, and we were like, you didn't fucking read the book. You only watched the movie.
Got her.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula and Return of the Living Dead are probably my two favorites that I've watched so far, neither of which I had seen before my watching them right now.
Return of the Living Dead fucking rules.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. But yeah, the other one that I forgot to mention, you asked me what my least favorite ones were, what the worst ones that I've watched. Yeah. It came from the desert, but also I watched another movie last night that this might be a controversial pick, but I watched Psycho Goreman last night, and it was extremely not for me.
Okay.
I mean, sure. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just precisely the type of movie that I do not like.
Sure, I get it. I have not seen it, but the director is directing the new Deathstalker movie, which
of course,
which stars Daniel Bernhardt from Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Yeah, of course it does. Yep.
And I'm a huge Deathstalker 2 fan. You can listen to my Deathstalker 2 episode on They Made Another One.
I did.
So I got to watch that. And if that is good, I may work backwards and watch Psycho Goreman. Otherwise, I've had no urge to see that movie.
Yeah, when it came out, I was like, this movie doesn't seem like it's going to be for me. And so I always avoided it. And then again, just on a whim, I was like, I need to watch a movie. And I was scrolling through, I don't even remember. Oh, I think I was on Shudder. And yeah, I believe it's the only place that's legally streaming is on Shudder. Okay. And I saw it on there and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It might be better than I thought it would be. And it turned out to not be, but for different reasons than I was expecting going in. I knew that it was going to be a horror comedy, but turns out that what it is it's one of those horror movies where it's only considered a horror movie because it's really, really gory, right? Not because it's in any way scary. And so yeah, it's like the gory type of horror movie, not the scary type. And of all of the various different genres that the movie is, the most prevalent one is comedy, which is a problem because there's only like 2 jokes in the entire movie that are actually funny.
Okay.
And so like they kept on like making all this weird, dumb, goofy stuff happen. And I was just sitting there stone-faced staring at the screen almost the entire time. Like it wasn't scary, like because it wasn't intended to be. The jokes weren't really funny. The lead, not like Psycho Goreman himself, but like the other 2 main characters are like a brother and sister and they're like literal children.
Okay.
And the lead of the 2 of them is the sister, and she is one of the most insufferable characters I've ever seen in a movie. And so, like, the lead performance didn't do anything for me. There's no horror. The comedy wasn't funny. Like, there was almost nothing about the movie that I liked, but again, to reiterate, that is my entire personal preference. It's not that the movie itself is bad. It's that I don't respond to the type of movie that it is.
I gotcha. Just not your thing. Yeah, you don't like horror comedy. Yeah.
I do not. Yeah.
We've debated Evil Dead 2 too much.
We have. That is correct.
Because I argue it is a horror movie that the absurdity, it's gallows humor. It's not intentional. Like it's not supposed to make you laugh.
Yeah, like ultimately I come down on it's too goofy to not be intentional, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But again, like you said, we don't need to have this discussion again.
No. Well, I have not been watching anything. Mm-hmm. You know, I've had crap on in the background, but I haven't been like intentionally really watching anything. So I got nothing to add to a what have you been watching conversation, except That's fair. I'm hoping to watch an all-time classic that I think is a fantastic movie that because it got public domained, there's a lot of really bad, poor quality versions of out there that make the legacy of the movie kind of suffer. The original Night of the Living Dead.
Great movie.
Fantastic fucking movie.
Loved it.
And you know, people know it's a classic, but you got to watch a really good print of it, because if you watch one of the crappy prints, it's you know, the sound is muddled and the picture is muddled, and you can't really like get into how, you can't see and hear how fantastic that movie really is.
Yeah, I watched that for the first time like either last year or the year before for October.
Yeah.
And when I watched it, it was because I bought the Blu-ray of the Criterion Collection release of it.
Nice.
So yes, I watched a good version of it. And hot damn, that is a great movie.
It really is. I've got a DVD copy, like a good release DVD. I've got public domain versions on, you know, shitty horror compilations I've bought over the years, but
I mean, bro, you can literally watch the movie on its Wikipedia page because they uploaded the entire movie to it.
That's my planned sort of Halloween watch.
I got you.
Is to watch Night of the Living Dead, because
that's fair.
It's been a little while since I've seen it, and I think it's great. I think it still holds up to this day.
It does. I one of the main things I remember thinking about it after I was done watching it was that I was surprised at how modern the movie felt for being made in 1968, you know?
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great fucking movie.
The whole original trilogy, Night, Dawn, and Day, all fantastic. Dawn of the Dead, obviously an undisputed classic. Day of the Dead, my feelings on it have waned a little bit. I still think it's good. It used to be my favorite. It's not anymore. But I'm not gonna rank them here, but I'm thinking, even with you know, as I'm trying to, you know, get used to these new medications and deal with this, you know, these migraine symptoms or whatever's been going on, I'm thinking, you know, black and white classic, that might be something I can tolerate right now. So I'm hoping to put that on in a couple days here.
That's fair.
Yeah, man. But we're here to talk about something different.
We sure are. We're here to talk about something a lot different than zombies, as a matter of fact.
We're kicking off a new era, right? A new chapter.
We sure are. The next section of the timeline, so to speak.
And kind of an extension of our previous one, right? Our previous chapter, our Alien Earth chapter, was also a alien crossover chapter. And
now we're extending that to the biggest and most famous of all of the alien crossovers. Alien vs. Predator.
Yes, we are entering the alien, the xenomorph verse chapter of the alien universe.
Yeah, this is something we've been teasing for a while, and we've been talking about doing for even longer, and we're finally only now getting around to it.
Yes, it's time to watch some xenomorphs fight some Yautja.
Yeah.
And whoever wins, we lose. Am I right?
You sure are.
How many times? We're going to get to say that so many times. Dude, I'm so excited.
It's going to rule. I'm going to laugh every single time we say it. But what's great is that we're not even going to be starting with the most famous Alien vs. Predator entry, which is Alien vs. Predator 2004 by Paul W.S. Anderson. We're going way, way back to the original, like, first ever, like when the people over at Dark Horse suddenly got struck by a bolt of lightning and went, oh my god, I have an idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, an idea that was arguably kicked off by Predator 2 when a Predator ship opened up and there was a xenomorph skull on the wall, right?
But didn't that come out after this?
I don't believe so.
I thought Predator 2 came out in 1994. This comic came out in 1989.
You're 100. Predator 2 came out in 1990.
Oh, 1990. Okay.
Yeah, we'll fix that in editing, unless you don't care.
I don't care.
All right, let's stay in. Look, we're not a Predator podcast.
We're not. That's true.
This is going
even though we're 50% of one for the next little while now. Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be an infuriating segment of the podcast for a huge portion of our audience, I'm imagining.
And I am totally fine with that. It's not that I don't care necessarily. It's that we didn't start this podcast to talk about Predator, so I don't have a problem admitting I don't know very much about Predator stuff.
Right. Because we've covered some Predator things, right? We covered Prey, obviously, because that released like right at the start of our podcast. We covered the Predator Holiday Special because it was Christmas.
We've covered Archie versus Predator
because it was Archie versus Predator.
Yeah.
And we were just like, can we just do this? Let's just do this. We just like this.
I think that might have actually been the first Predator thing we ever covered on the show.
And yeah, it might have been. We might have been like, look, Prey's coming out. Let's do Archie. And then and of course, shout out to Danny, Next Issue Podcast. We've covered half of Predator versus Wolverine.
Yeah, and I promise Danny we'll get around to covering the rest of it soon. Don't worry.
We are planning. We got to plan that with him, obviously, but we are planning to plan that with you if you're listening.
Yes, don't worry.
But we're not a Predator podcast, and I have read exactly zero solo Predator Dark Horse comics in my life.
That also sounds accurate to my experience as well.
And I know that Dark Horse did a hell of a lot of myth building and expanding of Predator customs and culture, right? Because they're so easy to do that for, right? They're a complex, space hunting species, like an intelligent space hunter, tribal based species. There's a lot to mine there for comic book stories. There's a lot of things you can build on for, customs and rituals and all of that sort of stuff, as we even see in what we're going to cover on this episode, which we haven't announced yet. But we don't know that stuff, and we're only going to be able to learn so much of it because we're really primarily going to stick to the Predator things that have aliens in the title also.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say we're only talking about Predator because in relation to Alien, but I mean, that's not true because we already did a list off a couple of things that aren't Alien related that are Predator, but like those were just like a handful is like, oh, this would be fun. Like we're doing this now because this is connected to Alien, Right.
Yes. So, sorry guys. You're getting this. This is like if we were a Friday the 13th podcast and we were covering Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good comparison. Yeah.
Yes. Or
Friday the 13th podcast.
Or if we were a Nightmare on Elm Street podcast and we were covering Freddy versus Jason.
Nightmare on Elm Street podcast.
You're only getting...
Anyway.
You're going to get... We're biased. Okay, that's what we're saying. We're biased.
That's true, yes.
So, what we are covering today... Oops, I just closed the tab. Reopen, close tab.
We're covering Alien vs. Predator issue 0 from 1989, which was originally released in 3 parts in 3 subsequent issues of Dark Horse Presents. I don't remember which 3, though.
Numbers 34 through 36. And before we get emails at mothercrewexpendable.net, it is Aliens vs. Predator.
I apologize. That was my fault. I didn't think to look.
I believe it is only singularized in the Paul W.S. Anderson movie for some reason.
Oh, okay.
The movie that has a whole bunch of aliens in it.
Well, maybe he meant like Alien the franchise versus Predator the franchise.
Or they just, didn't check their work.
Yeah, I mean, that seems likely, I suppose.
Yeah, guys, we are gonna talk about the very first Aliens versus Predator Dark Horse story.
Yeah, if I recall, I believe like it wasn't originally billed as an AVP comic because they wanted to surprise the readers who were reading it bit by bit as the episodes or the issues of DHP came out.
Yeah,
And so only in retrospect, after like they made the actual real full comic book of Aliens vs. Predator, did they go back and retroactively dub this comic as issue 0 of that series. But when this originally came out, it was just its own thing. Then later on, they were like, let's treat that as a prologue to the real story. And so that's what happened.
yeah. So this story is divided into 3 chapters, and the first one is basically just showing xenomorphs, right? And the second chapter is showing predators only, and then the third chapter shows the actual aliens versus predators part. For people who want to read this, it is collected. I'm reading it out of the 1991 Aliens versus Predator collection that collects this story with the original miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the lead story in the first Aliens versus Predator omnibus.
Yeah, where it is in color there when it was originally in black and white
Yes.
in its first printing. The color version is the version I read.
I read the color version also. It's colorized for this trade paperback collection as well. It's out there. And I believe in the 2010 Aliens versus Predator game, it was printed as a special collector's edition and included with the Hunter edition of that video game release.
Nice.
Remember when you used to get stuff with video games, man? Remember that?
I do, yes. Now you don't even get a video game anymore if you buy it digitally.
Remember when you used to own things that you bought? Remember?
Yeah, sure do.
There's a comment on that about this story and technology.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Got him.
So I don't know if these stories were originally titled this, but in this book, the chapters are titled "The Cracks in Our Technology." Remember about video games, man? The old ways seem more honest, and a change of scenery. I'm not sure if that's accurate to the original Dark Horse presents, but that's what we're going with.
Cool. Works for me.
Yeah. And the story does lead into the original miniseries, but I don't think it was written as that originally. So there's a little bit of extra information we have, names of the Predator characters, and I think the locations of the vessel and the location of it that I'll talk about that may not have been revealed in those original Dark Horse Presents issues, but are certainly a part of the story now and in all subsequent releases. For the nerds out there.
Works for me.
Yeah. So let's jump into this bad boy. First of all, it was written by Randy Stradley and penciled and inked by Phil Norwood.
Mm-hmm.
And the colors were done later, as you said, by In Color. Just a color studio.
Color.
At least that's the colors in the 1991 release of this trade.
Cool.
So let's jump into this complex layered story.
Yeah. It was very hard to follow, that's for sure.
Chapter 1, The Cracks in Our Technology. It establishes that we are going to follow 2 guys talking on a ship called the commercial transport vessel The Lecter, which has a crew of 15, and it is carrying 15 million tons of fish and animal products, and it is heading to the outpost of Prosperity Wells on the planet Ryushi, which is where it ties into the future miniseries. However, the art shows that this ship is called the Chigusa.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I was like, sure, all right.
Or is the Chigusa just the towing vessel, or not the towing vessel, but the actual cargo at the back of the towing vessel, and the towing vessel itself is the Lecter?
That is what I assumed we were supposed to take away from that.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah.
So it's me just not understanding how these ships work. And this ship has some graffiti, some artwork on the outside that says, "I know I'm ugly, but my mama loves me." With a
little picture of a pig on it.
With a little picture of a pig in a heart. That's very cute. And we got two guys talking, and their names are Tom and Scott, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Scott doesn't understand what Tom's problem is.
And I should clarify, just for the listeners, that we never actually see them. They're talking entirely in like voiceover dialogue boxes, and that's the only time they're ever like in the comic. We don't have panels of the two of them like visibly talking to each other. It's all only voiceover dialogue.
We see them very, very small technically in the cockpit in that "I'm ugly but my mama loves me" panel, but you can't see them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're there. They're squiggles. But yeah, they're just having a conversation about mankind's reliance on technology primarily, and whether we should be using up resources and strip mining planets and everything.
Yeah, their conversation starts off being about like the ethics of like strip mining and like going to other planets to take their resources, and like where you would draw the moral line between when it is and isn't okay, and like how you can be sure like is it more morally okay for you to take it if you need it rather than leave it there for someone else or like the native people to maybe use it sometime in the future.
Right. And Scott is very much on the side of like, hey, we have the ability to do this, and it's just in our nature to survive, so we should be doing it. And Tom is like, "I don't think it's right, mate. Is it? Blimey."
He's all like, "Crikey."
Yeah. Crikey. No, mate. Shout out to Tom, our friend Tom.
We were even joking before the episode started about how we were like, how much should we talk about this character Tom as if it was Tom?
As they're talking, a Predator mothership zips by, and they're like, "Blimey, what the hell was that, mate?" I think it was a meteor.
I think it was a meteor. That's right, Fink. I think that was a meteor, mate.
Yeah, because again, it's our friend Tom.
That's right.
We're specifically imitating our friend Tom.
Yeah, him specifically and no one else.
Yes.
But yeah, the ship flies by and they're like surprised when it like buzzes right by them because they just like think it's a meteor as it flies by. And then they continue to have their conversation while the camera like pans into the Predator ship, and we see that its hull is filled with like conveyor belts that are moving around these little like storage plates that have ovomorphs on them.
Yeah. They're trucking around ovomorphs on these conveyor belts as these two guys are talking about if it is right. They're having literal conversations about like, well, if the mongoose steals the egg, from a cobra's nest, the cobra can bite the mongoose, but if the mongoose survives, like the cobra can fight back, but if the mongoose, survives that because it's got a better metabolism and it's faster, then the mongoose has a right to eat the egg, right? And Tom's like, well, yeah, but like that's not the same thing as us using technology to go and destroy whole planets and ecosystems, which is, to his point, is true.
Yeah, that's true. And while they're having this conversation, we see the ovo is continuing down like various conveyor belts and get moved under various, tri-point scanners and all that. And then the eggs start getting like, and all of this is happening automatically. There's no living people interacting with these eggs.
Right.
And so like a big like vice grip hand, like the one that holds the egg when the Velociraptor hatches in Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Except a lot bigger. Picks up that egg and puts it in some like weird like holder that like breaks apart vertically to hold it.
Yes.
And when that happens, the camera pans out and we find out this is happening in a huge chamber directly in front of a big xenomorph queen that's like tied up and chained to the wall and has like a gag. It's very kinky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If that's your thing, it's your thing.
Hence where my designation came from at the beginning of the episode.
Sure. What's interesting about this, I'm going to move on from that, is
That's fine.
It's like there's 3 eggs, right? And they're being x-rayed. We can see inside them. They're being scanned, and 1 out of the 3 eggs is picked to be put into this. What we will learn, spoiler alert, is a launching pod, right?
Yeah,
it's like scanning and picking 1 egg. And if you look, it is maybe not here, maybe it's on the next section of them. The one that is scanned and picked does look a little different. I don't know if it's implied to be maybe a royal facehugger or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's like they're scanning specific eggs to put into these pods. I just think it's fascinating, this whole enterprise they have. And yeah, again, as they're doing this, they're having, again, a whole conversation that it evolves into like nature versus technology, right? And Scott's arguments are pretty disingenuous a lot of these times.
They sure are. Yeah, the xenomorph queen gets forced to pop out a few more eggs, and the egg holder grabs 1 or 2 more of them and starts loading them up. And right around this time, Tom and Scott were talking about fire ants.
Right.
And right around that point in their conversation was when I realized that, oh, their entire conversation is only thematically relevant to the comic, not actually important at all to what's going on. So at this point is when I just entirely stopped paying attention to their dialogue boxes at all.
Okay.
And just didn't even read the rest of their conversation from here on out.
All right. So I'm going to do my best to carry that, thematic connections, because I feel like they are important to the issue, and you guys can send your letters to mothercrewexpendable.net or direct all of your comments on YouTube to Kenny for not doing his homework.
That's right.
Okay. We do get a little tease here that the scanner is like a tri-dot scanner, which is classic Predator tech, right? That's our first sort of hint. And it's kind of the only thing we see, aside from some like squiggly insignias, I'm going to call them. They're sort of tribal insignias, which, you know, forgive me for calling their language squiggly.
Yeah, I mean, they look like some sort of like, you know, Predator alphabet lettering or whatever.
Which we've seen kind of in the movies. I want to say you see it on like their wrist guards and stuff, although that's a lot more digitized, you know, like in...
For sure.
Like if you had like one of those old LCD, clocks and tried to replicate this language with that. But, there's hints, I guess, right? The ant thing was interesting because like they're talking, Tom's talking about how like we keep fucking up environments, right? Killer bees. And then this event happened where these fire ants have made, what did he make? Like the entire like southwest of the United States uninhabitable.
Yep. Something like that. Yeah.
Southeastern portion of the U.S. Pardon me. The southeastern portion, virtually uninhabitable in just 70 years. And then a company made bacteria that eats oil to like clean up oil spills. And then that got out of hand. He's like, remember how they totally had that under control and then they completely lost control of it. And then Scott's like, oh, come on, Tom, that oil would have dried up sooner or later. And, they got to handle it. Works out eventually. Eventually it all works out. Technology always finds a way to figure out the problems that he says that nature throws at us. And Tom's like, will we, mate? Right?
That's exactly what he said. Yes. Yeah. Word for word.
And I like that because we're watching, one alien race prepping to seed a world with another alien race as they're talking about, yeah, we can solve anything that nature throws at us, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So it's almost like the thematic connections are important to the story, Kenny, and you should have done your homework.
But yeah, while all of this is happening, like I said, some more eggs get loaded. Imagine like one of those plates that you serve deviled eggs on.
Exactly.
Except it can only hold 3 of them, and it's a lot bigger. And it's like one of those, and like the little vice arm places some eggs on these, and then they slide onto conveyor belts and get onto these little like automated little car shuttle kind of things, and then each one of them drives into what we eventually find out is not really an escape pod, but like you said, like a launch pod.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts back to outside of the Predator ship, and it flies by, and then as it does, the like pod disengages and like unattaches from the ship and just like zips off somewhere into space.
Yes. Okay, so these are the ones that are getting sent down. The ones that were getting encased, I guess, are the ones that they're saving for later. Maybe those are the ones that aren't good for seeding. The ones that they were plucking out earlier and putting in those, vertical cases.
Yeah.
Maybe those are the ones they were going to give to the Davids to seed worlds in Aliens versus Avengers.
Yeah, I'm sure this is a direct prequel to AVA. How did you know?
Yeah, and then
got it all figured out.
They continue having their conversation about how humanity treats nature, and Tom's like, "I'm telling you, bruv, we shouldn't be messing with Mother Nature. She's a real bitch."
And yeah, Tom says that when he says she's a real bitch over an insert shot of a close-up of the extremely mad xenomorph queen.
Yes.
Which, by the way, take your notes. I believe that is the last time in this comic we will be seeing her.
It is the last time in this comic we will be seeing her.
Unless she like shows up in the main miniseries, but in issue 0, that's the last time we see her.
Yep. Chapter 1 is down, and we are going to move on to Chapter 2. The old ways seem more honest.
Yep. We cut back into the same Predator ship we just left, I believe, but to a different part of the ship, and we are watching a Predator in his room begin to like suit up, and he like grabs his weapons, and he grabs like his claw glove, and you see his armor hanging on the wall, and he waves his spear around,
Yes, this Predator's name is Broken Tusk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had just been calling him Tooth in my notes because I didn't know what his name was. But yeah, his I believe it's his lower left mandible. The tooth on it is broken off partway down.
Yes, that's how you can tell it's Broken Tusk, because he has a broken tusk. Which, he's some kind of higher up in their society. This is where...
He sure seems to be, yeah.
This is where our, ignorance about the Predator series and their culture probably fails us a little bit in this section, but Xenopedia to the rescue. Shout out to Xenopedia and their hard work. But it seems to me he's not very good at his job because he's got a broken tusk.
You'd think.
They wear face masks.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he's going through his gear. He's like suiting up. And this is where they really start getting into, humanity's reliance on technology, and that has gone too far, and blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Yeah, while he's suiting up, he gets interrupted by a whole group of predators running by his room down the hall. And he comes out to watch this group as a pair of them bring out a third one, and then 2 of the predators, like one of the ones the guy they brought out, and then just like some other guy, get brought into an arena, and they have to start fist fighting each other. Broken Tusk is like standing there watching, I guess, like presiding over the fight.
I guess he is apparently... Yeah, he presides over the fight. he ends up in the fight, doesn't he?
He does, because during the fight, one of them ends up winning, and like Broken Tusk is standing next to like this big board that like honestly looks like a spin prize
Yes.
wheel. And turns out that actually is what it is. But when I said that, I'm in my notes, I meant it as a joke. But it turns out that literally is what it is, because one of the predators ends up winning the fight and goes up to it to grab one of the ones off the thing, like as his reward. And then Broken Tusk stops him. And then the two of them get into a fight. Broken Tusk wins and then ends up taking the one that the dude was reaching for that made Broken Tusk stop him in the first place.
Right. So this is where this tying into the later miniseries maybe retcons a few things or changes information. Apparently what was happening here is they were, the way that it is explained later. And I think that the map screen sort of gives this away also. And actually, I wonder if it's in the black and white version. I guess we could check really quickly. Is if they are fighting over choosing their hunting ground, even though they've already launched all the pods.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, maybe where the retcon doesn't work out super great.
Well, presumably, maybe they're just trying to pick of the ones that are available to them that there are pods launched to, I guess. I don't know.
It looks like it's the same sequence in the black and white version, at least in the scanned version we're looking at, which I guess would be the 2010 release, so that doesn't really help us. But the official sort of summary is they are fighting over choosing their hunting ground, which is why that line... it's not like we're tigers, fighting over dominance of our favorite hunting ground, like comes into play.
Yeah, for sure.
And the one who won the first fight and was going up to the board to pick before he got knocked out, or the one that definitely gets his face punched, who's got his hair tied up high, is Top Knot.
Gotcha.
You can
Makes
tell
sense.
that by his top knot.
For sure.
Yeah.
Clever. I see what they did there.
Yeah, I guess. So.
But yeah, he goes up there and he starts reaching to this prize wheel for like this little medallion, because like it has pictures of all of the places, and then there's like a little like amulet or medallion by them, and you take that, and that's like, I guess, what like grants you entry into like the landing party to that place. And then Broken Tusk is like, and they fight, and Broken Tusk kicks Top Knot's ass and takes that same medallion. And then next time we see him, he is suited up in his armor, and he's like strapping himself into like a different landing craft than the one we saw earlier, with a whole group of them as they also launch off of the Predator ship.
Yes. During this whole fight, Tom is talking about how he kind of like, he thinks that humanity should sort of abandon technology because it's making everybody soft. Scott's like, it's Scott, right? So suddenly I was like, there's no way his name is Scott. I'm looking at it right on the page. Fucking Scott. Am I right?
Sure is.
Scott's like, so what do you want to do? You want to go back to like sticks and knives and shovels or whatever? And he's like, yeah, kind of. I mean, at least, like, could you imagine if we had to like, make our corporate heads duke it out to see who was going to be in charge of a company, instead of like them sending like lower employees to go do their dirty work or whatever. At least if you punch a guy in the face, he knows how you feel about him, right? We'd be a much more honest society if we could just headbutt each other, right?
And I'm guessing he said that over the panel where Broken Tusk literally headbutts Top Knot in the face.
Yeah, he says a guy would have to be a real hero or a real fool to butt heads with the chief. I think that might be Scott saying it there. Your way leads them all up to individual initiative. Without some kind of sanctioned avenue for dissent, a guy would have to be a real hero or a real fool to butt heads with the chief. So this is Tom talking about how like the checks and balances in our society don't really work, right? Where's my sanctioned avenue for dissent?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I got the speakers mixed up, but whatever, guys. It's a little hard to follow because they drone on panel to panel, and
They sure do.
And I'm the only one carrying this because Kenny didn't do his homework.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they certainly do drone on enough to the where I was like, yeah, I'm not going to keep reading this.
But yeah, Tom's whole point here is like, at least if I bust a guy in the chops, he clearly understands what I don't like what he's doing, isn't it?
Right, Gov?
Yeah.
Core blimey and all that.
Yeah, and this is the point where Scott's like, you're idealizing and romanticizing this kind of behavior, right? And we've moved above that for a reason, kind of, in society. So, maybe Tom's taking things to an extreme in this chapter, and Scott's trying to kind of walk him back from that of like, there are good things about our society, even if we are relying maybe too much on technology, as you're arguing. We maybe shouldn't be taking it all the way back that far. And if you really want that kind of a job, and if you really want to get that kind of a fulfillment, maybe you should go take a menial labor job. Maybe there's tons of menial labor jobs out in the system. Get out of this corporate life. Get out of these long hauls. There's a lot of guys who would trade to get your position to be able to drive these long haul space missions and get off their planets, and see the galaxy. And if you want to go to a place where you're not part of the corporate system and you can just bust heads with guys, there's plenty of opportunities to do that. You can even go on a safari if you want like old school adventure, right? And that's the end of chapter 2.
It sure is.
Now we're in the final chapter, A Change of Scenery.
Yep, we start off with a montage of that first pod that was launched, the one with the eggs, crash landing on an alien planet, and then some robot arms pulling the little like shuttle wheeled thing out, and it starts driving around on the surface of the planet, dropping like breadcrumbs lines of ovomorphs behind it as it drives. And we see a bunch of animals coming around and starting to investigate it and checking them out. And then, wouldn't you know it, those ovomorphs start to open.
It's very fun, these first few panels, because we see like all the space animals, right? We see space monkeys. Yeah. We see space crocodile snakes. We see space
bird.
Space pelican bird.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a bird with 4 wings flying by at one point. Yeah.
It's like a 4-winged pterodactyl with feathers, which we all know dinosaurs had feathers now, whatever.
That's right.
There's like a cobra kind of snake also, which we see get fucking face hugged. So
we sure do.
So the face huggers work it out. These are just normal looking face huggers, and they're able to like figure out how to get on all these animals without any special peripherals. And there's no dialogue over these few pages, which I think is kind of a nice storytelling technique, because when the dialogue does kick in a few pages later, Scott's like, "You're being kind of quiet, Tom. Are you mad at me now? Did I like?" He's kind of like implying like, "Oh, did I shut your conversation down or whatever?"
Yeah.
And Tom's like, "No, I was just thinking maybe I should do one of those things. Maybe I should go into one of those safaris, or be a ranch hand somewhere."
And while he's saying that, we see another shot of the second landing craft, the one with the predators on it, lands on that same planet. The doors open up and a squad of armored predators come out that are clearly there to hunt the xenomorphs that the ovomorphs have created.
I like that Tom is like, maybe I wouldn't like this life that I'm romanticizing, but like at least this would give me an opportunity. If I did one of these things, if I did sign on to be a ranch hand or whatever, at least if I gave it a try, I would know whether or not I liked it, So he is kind of like putting his money where his mouth is a little bit. Getting back to the land and the living things, as we see a dead carcass of the snake that's been burst open from the center, right?
Yep.
Get some adventure and uncertainty back into my life as we see a dead space monkey burst open at the chest.
Yep.
Yeah.
The predators wade into the grasslands, and as they're, poking around trying to find stuff, we see a pretty cool shot of them walking off while in the foreground there's a squad of xenomorphs like crouched down stalking them from like the other side of the grass.
Yes.
That I thought looked pretty cool. And finally, there we go. The first time that predators and xenomorphs meet, the xenomorphs, one of them leaps down on top of a predator and bites him in the neck, and then immediately a pretty quick fight ensues between the two groups.
Yes. The xenomorphs attack in full force. We see the predators, slicing and dicing. One of them gets it's not wearing his mask. Or maybe got his mask knocked off, or maybe that's cracked tusk or broken tusk or whatever. Cracked tusk, I think, was one of the toys. Gets bit on the shoulder. So one of the predators
maybe
goes
I said it
down.
was the neck, but yeah, one of the just in that area, and he ends up getting killed. After the fight, we see the field littered with bodies, and I think that's the only predator that gets killed during the fight.
But once a predator goes down, the other ones pull out their firearms and start blasting away.
Yep.
Right.
One of them pulls out a little handheld, like pistol-sized flamethrower and just torches a xenomorph right in the chest with it, which I thought was funny.
I read that as more like he's just like blowing it, like blasting it through its chest with like a laser gun or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But either way,
my brain registered it as a flamethrower, but yeah, either way, it doesn't matter.
I like this part of the Tom and Scott conversation. Because Tom, at this point, after talking about maybe I should go get some adventure back in my life, he's like telling a story about how when he was young, his uncle took him quail hunting. His wealthy uncle took him quail hunting, to make a man out of him, right? And he's like, all I could think about was how big my shotgun was and how small the birds were. And he's saying that as the xenomorphs are sneaking up on the predators. And he's like, this contest seemed lopsided to me, and I wondered what it would be like to hunt something that was capable of hunting me. And I think that's, again, the thematic conversation really illustrates what's going on with the xenomorphs and the predators and why they're doing this and why it makes sense for these two popular science fiction franchises to cross over.
Fair.
Also, it points out why quail hunting is fucking stupid.
So, like I said, the xenomorphs, like the entire squad of xenomorphs that attack the predators, all get killed, and only one of the predators gets killed, the one that got bit on the neck, shoulder area earlier. And we see one of them. I don't know if this is broken tusk or not. I wasn't able to tell, but one of them is parading around with a torn off xenomorph head impaled on the end of his spear, and he's just like walking around shaking it like in celebration.
Another one's got one on his double claws, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they're taking trophies.
And another predator comes up to one of the dead xenomorphs and snaps off, just like with his hand, just one of the fingers off of its hand, and then takes the stump and like ritualistically scars the forehead of one of them with the finger, like the one that had the skull on the spear, which in my notes I wrote down assuming it was broken tusk, but I don't know if it actually is or not.
So it is, it's not, but go on.
Okay. I can't really go on because that's the end of it.
Okay.
Like he's like ritualistically like scars the forehead of the one of them, and then we see them just like celebrating their win, and then the comic ends.
So once again, Xenopedia to the rescue. This ritual of hunting xenomorphs is something that they do to test what they call the unblooded, which are like the young, untested predators, right?
Gotcha.
They're not the young bloods, not to be confused with the young bloods.
That's right.
Two
very distinct things.
They are the unblooded. They have not had a hunt. They have not killed a xenomorph, etc. And then once they have done this ritual, they then, I guess, get promoted. I believe to young blood would be the next rank.
All right.
And the ritual you're seeing where they are taking the finger and they are writing insignia into their foreheads is called blooding.
All right.
Which is something, blooding or bleeding. I apologize if I got that wrong. I believe it is called blooding because that sounds cooler.
That's fair.
And doesn't sound like, I'm bleeding out, like I'm bleeding.
I got you.
And that is something that they do when they, take down major prey. They write their tribal insignia on their forehead with its blood. So this
and I called it scarring because they were using the stump that was torn off, i.e. it probably still has acidic blood on it, so I assumed they were doing that on purpose.
Probably. Yeah, but it's a very cool scene. We see the predators are successful in their hunt and they've killed all the xenomorphs. And Tom is still romanticizing, having hunting something that would like be really thrilling and get his heart pounding, and and he's talking shit about their job, and he's like, I mean, look at what we do for a living, Scott. We just punch buttons on a computer and it does all the work for us. Anyone can do our job, but I want to do something that'll really get my heart pounding. And he's like, isn't that right, mental, mate? Yeah, it's fucking bonkers.
Gov.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, I guess he says that's what I meant by my anti-technology tirade. It's not that technology is evil, but once in a while I have to put it aside and do something to remind ourselves that we are alive and prove that we can accomplish something by relying solely on ourselves. And then Scott's like, yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of like the first time you get laid, right? Did I ever tell you about that? I was at this party, see? And Tom interrupts him, says, "Oh, brother." And that's the last fucking dialogue in this fucking story.
It sure is.
God damn it. God fucking damn it.
So, where, was Broken Tusk then the one that got, killed by the xenomorph? Which one is he?
I don't think he went with them. I think the idea is they send the unblooded down on their own to see if they can survive with no support. I don't think.
I had operated under the assumption that he, because I was trying to figure out what his role was, because like you said, we weren't entirely sure, because it's like he was overseeing that fight, but then I also thought that he was one of the ones that got sent down, and so I was like, is he or is he not somebody of some renown? I guess I just didn't realize that he wasn't there during the ending.
So the subtext of that fight is well, not the subtext. The text of that fight that is not explained in this story is that they were going to go hunt on Ryushi. So maybe they've seeded Ryushi also. And Ryushi is the planet that the miniseries takes place on. And then Broken Tusk steps in and he's like, no, we can't hunt there. There's humans there right now, and that's going to disrupt the whole thing. And then Top Knot's like, that's not cool. That's where I want to go, and that's why they fight over it.
Gotcha.
So instead, that's why they fight, and Broken Tusk chooses a different planet or something like that.
Okay,
or hold on here. Broken Tusk chooses the planet of Ryushi to conduct his hunt. Unbeknownst to him, a colony of humans have established themselves on the planet. Top Knot instead leads another hunt on a marsh-covered planet that the party had seeded with Xenos. After a successful skirmish with the creatures, Top Knot bloods a subordinate. So that's Top Knot with them on the fight. So this is a separate party, and this is maybe things that are explained more in the miniseries. And looking,
okay, gotcha. So when Broken Tusk takes that medallion thing, that's the last time we see him in this comic. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, or that's the last time we see Broken Tusk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is in fact Top Knot bleeding the. He went on the hunt with these guys, and he bleeds the guy at the end.
Okay.
Apologies to everyone. Yeah, that's clearly him at the end of this comic book. Apologies to everyone. We're not Predator guys.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't notice that it was him because I had been operating under the assumption that when Broken Tusk won that fight, he won it by killing the other guy. So I wasn't expecting to see Top Knot again, so I just didn't notice that it was him in the comic.
I think
At the end.
I think they just talk with their fists. You know,
That's fair. That's fair. Because this comic doesn't let them have any actual dialogue, so they can't like talk. So I guess that makes sense.
I think that's par for the course. I don't know. I don't think they talk in any of these.
I thought they did in one of the later comics, but I don't know.
They might. We'll see how things go when we finally wrap up A Fire in Stone.
Yeah, like 3 years later or whatever.
Something like that. I'm flipping through the rest of this book. I'm not seeing Predator dialogue, which is probably why they have to put so many humans in these stories, right?
That's fair.
Which is cool. I don't really think I want to read a book where a bunch of predators are hanging out and talking, right? Because they do some like weird tribal, like broken English translation for them, and that'd be a problem. And I don't know.
Fair.
That's it, though.
But yeah, that's Alien vs. Predator issue 0.
Yeah, that's the first Aliens versus Predator crossover. Continuing our Aliens crossover series.
Yeah. For sure. It's almost like we did those other crossovers as a kind of lead in to this or something. But no, there's no way we definitely thought that far ahead, is there?
Man, did we plan things?
Huh.
And then even
Weird.
when our plans kind of get messed up, we just rearrange our plans so they still work.
And like it's almost like we even involved the opening Cooler Bot based sketches into that too, or something, huh?
Yeah.
Weird.
Rifts in time space, multiverses.
Yeah. What are the chances, huh?
Interesting.
But yeah, that's AVP issue 0, the first time ever that Alien and Predator have crossed over. This is the comic that launched 1,000 franchises. And by 1,000, I mean 1. Aliens vs. Predator.
Look, we stumbled through this a little bit. It is an odd book that we decided to do solo this morning.
Yep. Yeah, we our justification, even though, like, as we said, it's issue 0 of like a 6-issue miniseries, issues 0 through 5, as it turns out. And we justified doing it by itself because when it was originally made, it wasn't intended to be the first issue of a miniseries. Like, it was originally just going to be this, and then after this came out and people are like, oh yeah, it's actually really cool that Aliens and Predator are crossing over, Dark Horse went and then made a whole 4-issue mini-series about it, and that's like the main AVP comic. And then so they retroactively decided that this was a prequel story to the main 4-issue comic.
Yes.
So since it was originally released as its own standalone thing, and the story was only just supposed to be this by itself, and only turned into the first part of something else later, that was our justification for doing it by itself.
And we needed to ease into this a little bit because, man, this Predator stuff is going to be difficult to track a little bit for us. We really got to. The details are so minor. That broken tooth was not that broken in a lot of these panels, it sure wasn't. And that top knot in this color edition sure did blend into the background on those last few panels a lot.
Yeah,
so
for sure. And it's also going to be extremely hard to read a comic and talk about it and figure out what is going on when the main characters, when both of the groups of main characters don't fucking talk.
Yeah.
And like, when it's an alien comic, it's fine because the aliens are the bad guys, the monsters that are killing the people. But the entire premise of this comic is that aliens and predators are fighting each other, and neither of those things talk.
Right.
So like you said, that is probably why there's like, oh, they're going to go to a planet full of humans, because that way we can actually have things in the comic that actually talk and have dialogue and explain what's going on. because
Yes.
we know because the aliens and the predators both can't fucking do that. So
Yes. All of that said, I think that this was a pretty cool story. I liked the hook of having these two, space long haulers having a conversation that was essentially sort of narrating the events that were going on in the story, thematically, but tying into what we were seeing, representing what we were seeing, and just sort of, elaborating and giving meaning and relation, like relating what we were seeing to how this would apply to humanity, and creating, danger for humanity through showing these two warring species as a force of nature that was out there that is something that humanity probably won't be able to overcome. And also like highlighting this idea, highlighting the predators, whole thing about like hunting and hunting game that could hunt them back, dangerous prey and all of that. It works for me. And it was a good way of adding, because otherwise this would take you like 4.5 minutes to flip through,
that's true. Yeah.
in terms of like the way the panels were laid out and stuff. There wasn't a whole lot. I mean, it was laid out fairly standardly. So like it was really the voiceover, the narration that was carrying you through the story and pacing it for you, for me anyway, that like made you spend any time with it. Otherwise you're just kind of watching, monsters that kind of all look the same, mash their heads together, and then beat up monsters that don't look like them.
Yeah, that's a big part of the reason why there were big chunks of this comic, especially during the Predator part, where I had to go back and reread a couple of pages several times to just kind of process and like figure out what the comic was telling me was happening.
Right.
I let's try that last sentence again. It took me until my third read through of the fight that Broken Tusk was overseeing to realize that he was not one of the two people in that fight initially.
Yes.
Like
Same.
I had thought that like that panel of the one predator pushing the other one forward with the slap sound effect.
Yeah.
I thought he was the one getting pushed forward and that he was one of the two people in the fight. And then only around the time when he grabbed the wrist of Top Knot did I, right around that time, I was like, all right, which ones are these? And then I noticed that one of them had like the black, like, thing around his shoulders, and I was like, oh, that's Tooth, which is what I had been calling him in my notes.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, that's him. Oh, wait, no, shit, he wasn't part of this fight. And then I had to go back and reread it again, and only after that did I finally understand what the comic was trying to tell me. So yeah, it took me a few tries to really process everything, because like you said, all these predators, men, they all just look like fucking predators,
They do. So Broken Tusk also is sometimes apparently called Dachshund and Indi.
All right.
So that's not going to get confusing for us if they pop up a lot more. And Top Knot, he's just called Top Knot. Okay. Well, that's good, I guess. But they are characters, I guess, that are going to show up at least in the miniseries. And I don't think in this segment we're going to go into a lot of Dark Horse. We're going to read this original miniseries, and then of course we're going to finish Fire and Stone. But there's a lot. We're going to take a sampling of the various Aliens versus Predator media out there. Thankfully, we're not going to have to get, I think, too educated about the Dark Horse Predator universe. We just got to get through this section.
Yeah, my understanding, based on my recollection of the conversation we had about it several weeks ago, is we're going to do the original comic, which we've started doing now. We're going to do the two movies. We're going to finish Fire and Stone. And there was one other thing we were going to do that I don't remember, and I think that was all we were really planning on covering for the time being.
We got to pick out one or two of the Aliens versus Predator video games.
Oh yeah, video game, that's right.
Yeah.
Also, I'd just like to say, even though the conversation kind of started to drift away from it, I would just like to say, regarding like the voiceover and the Tom and Scott dialogue and stuff, I didn't really have like a problem with it per se. Like, it wasn't like I didn't get mad reading it. I was just like, oh, this doesn't have like it. This is only thematically connected to what's happening. I don't need these two guys telling me what's happening when I'm just seeing it happen on screen. In my notes, I referred to them variously as either jokers or clowns, and then I just stopped talking about them entirely. But yeah, okay. It was like one of those things where like I don't have an issue necessarily per se with it being there. It's just, I mean, like I said, since they're not actually talking about the things that are happening in the comic, I don't need somebody just describing to me what it is that I'm reading, which is a big part of the reason why I was like, yeah, I don't fucking care, and stopped reading the dialogue boxes. Yeah,
you and I think we approach comics differently. In the past few weeks, I've been reading a lot of funny books because that's what I've been able to do. So I've been locked in on them a little differently, maybe, than, the periods where I'm sort of checked out. Because I drift in it. I mean, they're always there for me, but I sort of drift in and out in my engagement, right? But I've been more engaged lately, so I appreciated that as a storytelling element. And I think that this is a pretty successful issue 0, and I think that that storytelling element adds stakes to this in what would have otherwise just been, mashing action figures together. It gives it some larger meaning in a universe, right?
Do you know if they're in the rest of the comic at all?
They are.
They are? Okay.
Yes.
That's fine. I was just curious.
So. Yes. So I hope they get a little bit more distinct
from each other, visually, so you can tell them apart.
A little more visually distinct. But we are also going to need to pay more attention to that in general. They're all the same fucking color.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going so far as to say every Predator looks the same, but like every Predator looks similar enough that just at a brief glance, it's difficult to tell them apart.
As you stated, it was 1989. This is before Predator 2. All of the masks are the same. All of the armor is the same. It's all they're the fucking same, man.
Yeah, they're the same. I mean, like the one way you can tell that it's Broken Tusk is that he has a broken tusk, but when wearing his mask, you can't see that. So
I don't know what I said earlier about the action figure. There was an action figure called Cracked Tusk, so I might have misspoken when I said one was an action figure. There was a Cracked Tusk action figure, and he looks very different. He had like these like cancerous calcium protrusions from under his jaw, and one of them was broken off. So he had some problems, man.
Yeah, but it sounds like it. Shit.
But like, I don't know if they just had to follow like a specific visual style of like, it has to look like the guy from the movie, right? That's the design of the Predator. So they're like, okay, well, I guess they all look like this guy. I guess we'll change
probably about it.
We'll change a hairstyle and a tooth, and that's all we can really do. But
yeah, that's probably about it. So.
You'd think they could be like, hey, can we do some fun stuff with armor for this armored hunting race, right? Like the movies are going to do. They're going to change up some armor styles, and they're going to change up some skin colors, and they're going to change up they're going to make them distinct from each other, especially when there's more than one in a feature. Anyway, enough about that. We'll get into that more as we read the series, but you and I are going to have to make sure we're paying attention to that, I think. Otherwise, we're going to get a lot of comments.
There's going to be a lot of problems trying to understand the book, no less.
Yes, we're going to be like, wait, that was that guy? I thought it was this guy. No, it was that guy. Oh, I thought it was this guy. And people are going to be like, People are going to be requesting refunds from coolerbot.net.
The last little bit of info I had isn't directly about this comic, but as of this recording, in just shy of 2 weeks, I already requested a day off work so my friend and I can go see Predator Badlands in theaters when it comes out.
Nice.
So yeah, I already have plans to go see it. I don't remember if it's opening the Thursday or the Friday, but I'm going on the Friday.
Very cool.
So yeah.
I don't have those plans yet, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm doing. In the short term, though, Kenny, we need to brush up on our Predator a little bit, don't we?
We sure do. And what better way to do that than by watching Predator?
Our next podcast episode, we are going to watch Predator.
For sure. The original 1980X classic.
I'm going to take my migraine medicine. I'm going to put my sunglasses on and I'm going to watch Predator.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be fine, guys. I'm being careful, but I can sit down and watch Predator. I'm not trying to make this a thing.
I said 1980X because I couldn't remember exactly what year. I just looked it up. It's 1987.
Yep. I knew that.
7, yeah.
I knew that.
So yeah, we're going to be watching the original Predator starring our boy Arnie.
It has been a while since we've watched a movie, man. I'm excited about it.
It has been a while. I believe Romulus was the last movie that we watched.
Yeah, it was. That was over a year ago.
And the last time we watched a thing was Alien Earth, but that was a TV show, not a movie. And so yeah, I believe Romulus is the last time we covered a movie.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it. That's gonna be a good one. We're recording that tomorrow.
We sure are. I don't know when it's going to be coming out, but we're recording it as of this recording tomorrow.
Yeah, it will be out after this one. So look forward to that, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not specifically continuing on with the Predator movie series, but we did want to at least get into Predator. Just to
since we're gonna be covering Aliens versus Predator, we figure we've already spent so much time talking about the Alien half. Why don't we spend at least a little bit of time talking about the Predator half too?
And it has been quite a while since I've engaged with any of the Predator films. I don't think I've watched one since we watched Prey, so I need to brush up a little bit. I've watched that movie a lot, but not nearly as often as the Alien movies, and not for a very long time.
I think I've either seen Prey twice or thrice, and last time, like when we covered it on the show, was the last time that I watched a Predator movie. I've still only seen Predator, Predators, and Prey. I still haven't seen 2 or The Predator yet.
Well, we got to save something for a rainy day in the future, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So for now, our next episode is Predator, and after that, we are jumping back in to the Dark Horse Aliens versus Predator comic book series
from 1990, I believe.
Yes, 1990. Yeah, man.
Cool.
All right, we should wrap this up, I guess.
I didn't have anything else, so I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Kenny, where can people find you on the internet?
I am on Twitter and on Blue Sky at CYHOBBEZ. I almost never post. I mainly just have the account so I can look at other people's posts and go, haha, and then hit the like button.
Hell yeah. Where can people find the show on the internet?
I run our Twitter account. It's at Crew Expendapod. Our Blue Sky account is at Crew Expendable. Our Instagram and our threads, Neil handles those. They're both at Crew Expendable Pod. Our website is crewexpendable.net. Our email is mother@crewexpendable.net. Our YouTube page is youtube.com/@crewexpendable. And if you want to give us any amount of money, we will gladly accept any of it with our huge thanks. You can go to coolerbot.net to do that.
Yeah, give us all your money.
Open those wallets.
I should probably reinstall Threads on my phone.
Yeah, probably. I've literally never used it. I don't even have a Threads account because I don't have an Instagram account. So
I swapped phones is the thing. That one didn't.
Gotcha.
That one didn't make the transition yet.
Gotcha. But yeah. Also, keep an eye on that donation page, people, whether you're donating or not, because you might see some cool stuff on there sooner or later.
You're going to see some cool stuff. We're working on it. Promise.
Yeah.
I promise. It's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
We will be back talking about the Arnold Schwarzenegger, John McTiernan classic Predator. So until then, stay frosty.